So, can you tell us anything about your movie? Well, it's a low to no budget movie. It's about a... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop you there. This is a mistake. We don't actually listen to pitches for, rubbish movies. It's not rubbish. You haven't got any money to make it though, have you? So it's probably going to be fairly rubbish. Well, that hardly matters. There's loads of low to no budget movies that have become a success story. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again? Paul McGee. Rubbish movie. Can you stop writing rubbish, please? Don't worry, it doesn't matter. I'm not even writing anything. I'm just drawing a picture of a house. Making your first movie is no easy feat. And making it with no money, well, that's an even more incredible obstacle to overcome. And it's a position that most new filmmakers find themselves in. And walking into that first project with this idea in mind, or this title hanging over your head that this is a no to low budget project, can have some strange effects on the decisions that you make. And in doing so, this can create a whole bunch of mistakes that are really very avoidable. And if you can avoid them, your film is going to be in a much, much better place for doing so. Here are my top 12 mistakes beginner, no budget filmmakers make. We don't actually listen to pitches for, rubbish movies. 1, don't call your movie a no-budget movie. It does a disservice to you and all the people involved in making it happen. Call yourself a no to low-budget filmmaker, sure, because that's who you are. All that says is that you know how to shoot stuff that looks good for very little money, which means you are a creative survivor. And that's a really good perception of you. But that's not your movie. Your movie is about the story that you want to tell. It's about putting an idea and a question out into the universe. And none of that has anything to do with how much it costs to make. If you make the lead point about your movie its price tag, then suddenly you drag yourself into being compared with every other movie in the universe. And a lot of those movies that are freely accessible to watch on those big platforms that people tend to watch their movies on these days, well, they were all made for north of $20 million. Not going to help your film. Don't contextualize it that way. So remember, you are a no to low budget filmmaker. Your movie is best described in another way, such as it's an independent collaboration. 2, don't use your lack of budget to be okay with takes and shots you just don't like. Cut! Excellent, well done everyone. On to the next scene. You sure you want to go with that one, boss? What? It's just your lead actor did a big fart in the middle of it. Did he? Yes. That's okay. We'll write it into the script. We gotta crack on. Come on. Maybe you don't have time to take another shot. Maybe you lack the energy and the creative thought because you've been at it all day to do something interesting. But remember, this is all just going to hurt your movie in the long run. Cutting corners creatively, like not moving a lamp in or out of shot once or dropping a line because there just isn't enough time to get it, might not feel like it's going to hurt your movie if you do it just once, but it's a slippery slope, and if you do it enough, the whole quality of your film can be undermined. Try and figure out 2 solutions for any problem that won't cost you a single penny, then a third option that maybe is going to cost you a little bit of money, and see if the budget can provide for it. 3, make sure you know how to use all the equipment that you actually already have, and that you can use it to its best ability. Alright everybody, just a quick update on the gear we're using today. It turns out we won't be using this camera because I don't know how to use it. However, we will be using this classic iPhone 6, which will give us some lovely vintage shots. And don't worry about all that 4K nonsense because I'm just going to get the cinematographer to turn the lights down real low. Is everyone ready? Okay then, let's go. Lights! If you're limited in the equipment that you have, then knowing how to use it properly is going to help you to get all the best coverage you could want. Take as much time as you can before you put one single foot on the film set to educate yourself to knowing how to use this equipment to its full potential. 4, make recording sound on your film the ultimate priority. What? A higher priority than video? Yes, Snarky Paul, a film can live with poor footage. It cannot survive with poor sound. Remember, people will squint their eyes at poor footage. They will not pull their ears closer to hissy, irritating sound. They'll run a mile. First films, including my very first short, are usually littered with poor sound choices. Again, this is about going out beforehand and learning how to use the mic, or delegating the sound person, if they're not professional, to going out and learning how to use their mic to its best ability before you start shooting. The difference in sound quality when you cut your film together and you actually paid attention and worked on audio properly can make a staggering difference when done right. 5. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my, work on every page of your script until every page is a page turner. This is your shot at making a big impression to a new audience, whoever that audience might be, whether that's your friends, family, or professionals in the film world that you want to impress so you can get an opportunity with later. Don't waste it shooting material that you know isn't going to work, and test that script beforehand so you know what's going to work and what isn't. And speaking of material, excuse me, where's the script? Script? Where we're going, we don't need a line. Do not go on set without a script. Do not show up and just feel like you're going to improvise your way around a whole day of filming. It will not work and you will not get the results that you want. I love the feel of improvised dialogue in a movie when it grounds things and makes it real. And I've used it myself, but I've never used it before I've done the whole thing scripted and I've made sure I've got enough takes of it scripted that I'm satisfied. Then I can allow the actors to go and improvise stuff because they already know where the scene's got to go and the points within the dialogue that have to kind of take it from the first part of the scene to the very end of the scene. I've seen lots of really good, no budget indie ideas just fall by the wayside because there's lots of footage of actors not knowing what to say or what to do. 7. The best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Action! It was the best of times and the worst of times. Just because you can't afford to pay cast and crew, although you should definitely be paying for their travel and their food, don't accept any half-arsing on set or any phoning in of performances. Make sure everybody is very aware of exactly what they're going to receive coming into this movie. And despite the lack of money now, this film is going to reward everybody if everybody gives it 100%, starting with you. 8, just because you can't afford for everyone to be there doesn't mean that you're not responsible for their health and safety on set. There are quite a few on-set horror stories of stunts and performances and actions going horribly wrong because people couldn't afford to put in the right safety procedures. If you can't afford to do it and there is any risk whatsoever to anybody's health, then make it a hard no. You've got this far working out how to do things a different way. Keep doing that. 8, make sure that whatever budget you manage to put together, that you square half of it away in the bank because you're going to need that for marketing and for festivals. If you can't afford to pay your cast and crew now, then pay them later. Make that top priority of any money or any revenue that your film drives in first of all. Pay them a delayed day rate or help them out on any other projects that they might need assistance on. Maybe some of your crew are also budding filmmakers and they're going to need help getting their projects off the ground. Maybe some of them have written material for themselves and need somebody to help them shoot it. Remember, you wouldn't get your film made if it wasn't for these people. And that's something that's worth remembering always. 11. Yes, Mr. Schneider, I have just finished the final cut. How long? 3 hours and 45 minutes. What do you mean it's too short? Get a professional editor to supervise the final cut of your movie. I've seen movies, and mine is included in that, where the filmmaker, who was also the editor, was so close to the project that they had no idea whether or not the cut they'd made was one that would work with an audience. My first cut of Webcast was like an hour, no, it was like 2 hours long, and I was like, I'm pretty satisfied with that. That works for me. And then I started to show it to people and I could see where their attention was waning. I was like, this is only going to work for me, and and no one else, and I kind of want other people to watch this too. A professional editor is going to know what to leave in and what to leave out, and they're going to come to the project with a fresh set of eyes. Take on board what they're going to tell you and the notes that they give you, and if they offer to do a cut for themselves, then I would bite their hand off. It's not like you have to use it, but it's definitely going to make your film a more commercially viable product. And ultimately, that is what you're going to need from your film in order to want to make more, or even have the opportunity to make more. 12. Have I heard this song before? Song? That's not a song. That's your ears singing to you. Don't worry, it's quite common. Amongst the likes of you. What? I can't hear you. Don't use music you don't have the rights for. A quick story, Quentin Tarantino didn't have the rights for Stealers Wheel Stuck in the Middle with You when he made Reservoir Dogs. I think he kind of maybe said that he did, or he thought he did, but it wasn't the case, and the movie got signed up, and then they had to go back to Stealers Wheel and say, hey, you know this movie that's already won a bunch of festival awards and is probably going to make a fairly tidy sum of money? Well, your song is integral to the entire film, so we kind of need to use it. And obviously the price of that song went up from maybe $5,000 to somewhere nearer $100,000, $150,000. And that production had money. Reservoir Dogs was made for like $2 million. I'm guessing you don't have that kind of money, and that's probably why you're here. So using something you don't have the rights to can literally bury your movie under legal fees, copyright infringement fines, and all sorts of stuff. Now, I'm hoping that by avoiding these 12 mistakes, it's going to make your film a much better prospect and a much bigger success. If you found this video useful, hit the like button and let me know. Have you made any low budget filmmaker mistakes that I haven't mentioned here? Well, tell me about them in the comments below. I'd love to hear all about them and how you resolve those problems. And if you subscribe to the multiverse theory, you'll know that just by clicking on one of the videos on your screen now, you'll be creating an entirely new universe. So go on, filmmaker, create something. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.